Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. Make sure to go ahead and follow me on X in the description down below and hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video just like this. Looking at Trump's approval rating, he is currently surging in the approval charts as of right now following the Charlie Kirk assassination. Looking at his national approval rating, I have aggregated the following pollsters together, which are Rasmussen Reports, TIPP Insights, New York Times / Siena College, Emerson College, Alice Intel, SoCal Strategies, which is the channel's pollster, including Insider Advantage / Trafalgar Group, Quantus Insights, and Big Data Poll, which is run by Richard Barris, the People's Pundit. These are the pollsters that I have selected to be a part of this singular aggregate, where I basically grade them on accuracy, sample size, and the number of undecideds. And the way this works is the higher accuracy you had in 24, the higher grade you get in that department. The more polls you do, the higher sample size, the more voters you poll, the more grade you'll get. You'll get more points on my grading system, and the less undecideds you have, the less amount of undecideds that you have, the higher grade you will get in the poll. And that actually ends up inflating pollsters' grades the most, because regardless of accuracy, it gives a clearer picture of where the electorate's at. So it's pretty much pushing down the undecided counter. That's really what the goal is. It's trying to really filter out as much as possible all of the undecided voters. You can see a very accurate representation of the electorate. And as of last month, Donald Trump's approval rating was down 0.7%. He was at about 48.0% disapprove to 47.3% approve. Now he's gained roughly, if you round it out, he's gained a net point in favorable rating since August 31st. And he is at about 47.6% to 47.4% disapprove. And only a couple pollsters, added pollsters, only Rasmussen and Alice Intel actually have added polling as of right now. The aggregate is always going to be very stable due to the infrequency of the polling, but this also mirrors actual sentiment. You have aggregates that they always change constantly, and there's this 1 week the approval rating will be here, and then the next week the approval rating's here. That's not how real politics works. Usually trends take time to develop, and so that aggregate, or this aggregate, is also going to reflect that. And so as of right now, you can actually see this huge development where the president is actually gaining in his national approval rating. And this is due to many factors. This is due to his decision on H-1B visas, where he essentially added in $100,000 a year fee on all HB1 visa holders. And he raised the minimum wage from $60K to $150 to basically cover this fee. And it's pretty remarkable, because now you're going to have a bit of an issue for companies that want to just keep hiring non-American workers. A lot of companies aren't going to be able to sustain a fee like that. And so a lot of them are going to have to be sent back. And now American workers are going to have to be hired. And this is what people voted for when they voted for President Trump. This is literally one of the top things they voted for. And now that Elon's out of the picture, the president probably had more freedom to do something like this. And you now have the president winning on this issue big time. And another thing that's helping the president is the Charlie Kirk assassination. It's definitely going to help him. Charlie Kirk was a huge proponent of him winning the 2024 election, a lot more than he even gave himself credit for. And now that he was assassinated and people see the response of how the electorate is people see the response online, social media, of people acting out, saying all these nasty things, it is going to really make an impact on a lot of people. It really is. It's going to have a huge impact on the electorate. And again, the polls are weighted to about a 32 Republican to 32 Democrat to 36 independent electorate. But you might have a possibility where in our next SoCal strategy survey, you kind of have his approval rating change depending on what type of electorate we get. It's always possible that we do end up getting something pretty interesting because we don't weigh by party. We kind of just let the electorate speak for itself, and then we weigh by age, gender, race. Like we weigh by different things, and whatever electorate we get is what we get. So we're always going to end up getting a different electorate when we do a national survey. And it looks like the president, as of right now, is in a decent position. He's basically at a 48% approval rating, which for a midterm is amazing. I mean, he's not even net negative right now. I mean, he's basically at a virtual tie, but, closing up 2025, I mean, there's literally 99 days left in the year. And if he closes out 2026 with a positive approval rating of like +2 or +3, he's going to have a pretty good 2026 if he's able to even maintain any approval like that. And so these people that are saying, 2026 is going to be another 2018, it's just not true, because the fundamentals for that to be the case, it's really not just there. It really, the fundamentals for the Democrats to win the ballot by so many points is basically not really going to be there. It's really not going to show. And so now, just kind of looking at, just kind of the landscape of everything, a D+8, D+9, D+10 national environment where the Democrats are winning the popular vote by 10 points, it's just not really there. It's not really going to be effective at all. It's not an accurate representation of what's going to happen next year. And even Atlas Intel, believe it or not, is actually kind of guilty of pushing this narrative for whatever reason, that the Democrats are just all of a sudden going to win the generic ballot by 8 or 9 points. And they're like one of the only pollsters that are currently showing that, besides all of the fake, news media pollsters. And we still have Atlas Intel in the aggregate because they were the most accurate pollster, and we always like to adjust for any sort of bias that could be affecting our aggregate. But right now, the president is at a virtual tie, and he's surging from last month. So that is very important to note. He is surging. But the biggest issues that he has that are not letting him be at over a 50% approval rating right now are the following. The Epstein files are a very big issue. Immigration is definitely affecting his approval rating. The economy is definitely affecting his approval rating as of right now. So, that is kind of where we kind of gauge that. Those are where we found his big weaknesses on. Those are his weak points. His strongest demographic, believe it or not, is actually Hispanic voters. According to our own SoCal strategy survey, we found him at about 48% approve with U.S. adults amongst the Hispanic demographic. So his approval rating with Hispanics is still fairly strong. It's really his Black support and his white support are kind of like a big issue for him. And then going into 2028, the biggest problem for the Republican nominee is actually going to be Hispanic voters, because Vance is, kind of trailing with Hispanics against Newsom and Buttigieg by a pretty significant amount compared to what Donald Trump was trailing Harris by. He was only losing them in our final poll by about 8 percentage points. So again, and that's basically the demographic that won him the election, if you really think about it, because that handed him Nevada, Arizona, Pennsylvania to a degree, and kind of helped him out in North Carolina and some parts of Georgia. So that really was the coalition that kind of actually put him over the top. So if you don't have that coalition for Vance in 28, it could be a big problem. Now, again, you have the Charlie Kirk assassination, which definitely could affect things. Like, it's definitely a possibility that is affecting the landscape. So we'll kind of see how that develops. And in a future video, we're going to be looking at the early voting in Virginia, because there are some actually good signs for the Sears campaign and the Republican Party coming out of the early voting. A lot of the deep Republican counties that report early votes are showing 80-70% turnout compared to 24, and the blue counties are showing like 42, 50, 60% turnout from their 2024 counterparts. So that's also something interesting. Maybe it was a day one surge, but we'll kind of be tracking that as time goes on. But the early voting, might tell a different story from the polling that we did just last month for the race. And so if you guys did enjoy this short video, make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe. If you want more content just like this, make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss another video like this. And go ahead and follow me on X in the description down below. And I will see you guys in the next video.